Okay. My name is John Goldberg. I work at Public Works in the project management section, working on the ESSER bond program. So I'll be the hearing officer. My job is to take the information that is presented today, kind of encapsulize it, send a recommendation to the director, then the decision is the director's to make about whether recommendations are accepted, changed, or rejected, and those decisions are the directors alone. And they can notify you when if you submit your name. Kim Stevens is our clerk today, so thank you very much. The hearing's being recorded should that be necessary in the future. So with that, what we'll do is go right down the agendas from the start to the finish. If somebody's not here, we'll ask them to wait till the end when the matter's called, and then we'll hear it at that point. And the way we'll do it is we'll start with the department spokesperson who will make the presentation. If there's an appellant, we'll ask the appellant to speak, and then we'll open up to public comment. Just out of respect for everyone's time, we'll limit the public comment to 3 minutes each. Okay? So with that, we'll start with item number 2 on the agenda. Order number 201855 to consider an application from Tacos Laltun for the operation of a mobile food facility in the public right-of-way in the vicinity of 1610 Armstrong Avenue. When people come up, if you could please, I like to get the names. I make an effort to spell the names correctly in my report to the director. So if you could please state your name, spell it, and then who you're representing, if yourself or an organization or a company or something like that.
Okay.
3.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Nicholas Persky, Nicholas Persky, representing Public Works Bureau of Street Use and Mapping. And on the overhead, I put a image of where the mobile food facility wants to operate for your reference. I'd like to give a quick overview of permit 18 MFF-0101 applied for by Tacos Laltun. If approved, this permit would allow the applicant to occupy a portion of the parking lane in front of 1610 Armstrong Avenue with a food truck on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. The applicant originally submitted this application to Public Works on August 31st, 2018 for the location of 1424 Yosemite Avenue. After review of the application, it was found that the mobile food facility would not fit within the curb space available at that site. Subsequently, on April 2nd, Public Works formally made the change to the application at the request of the applicant to be for 1610 Armstrong Avenue location, which is the one that's currently under consideration. Public Works accepted the site plan for the 1610 Armstrong Avenue location on April 2nd of 2019. Following approval of the 1610 Armstrong Avenue site plan, Public Works sent out a notification as is required by section 184.88 of the Public Works Code on April 2nd, 2019. The applicant also posted a physical notification at the location on June 18, 2019, for which a picture was sent to Public Works. The end date on the notification was modified to July 18th of 2019 to ensure an adequate noticing timeframe. In response to the public notification, Public Works received 2 letters of objection before the deadline of July 18, 2019. Public Works did receive 1 additional inquiry via voicemail requesting additional information regarding the mobile food application. And the 2 objections that we received subsequently led to today's hearing. So that concludes my opening remarks, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Great, thank you. Any appellants here? Is an appellant to this present? Would a member of the public wish to speak?
I know that the mobile food applicant is here.
Would you like to speak, sir?
Yes. Or no, is it appellant first? Or?
Well, if there's an appellant here, and then we can have the mobile food applicant.
Okay.
We'll hear everyone.
You received my letter.
I received 2. Which one are you, sir?
Pardon me?
Are you Mr. Gold?
Yes.
Okay, I've received your letter.
Oh, good. I'm representing the owner of 1600 Armstrong and the Royal Sheet Metal on the Keith side of Armstrong and Hernandez Sheet Metal at 1610. They're Latinos. They don't speak English, so they asked me to represent them. The food truck may be a good idea, may be a bad idea, but it's a terrible place to park it. So let me show you what's going on there. Did I put this in the... Oh. There's my building, the white one. That's on the corner of Keith and Armstrong. People are already parked up on the sidewalk. They're double parked. Employees, it's a nightmare for parking. Here's the Armstrong at the intersection. Again, somebody's up on a sidewalk. I put a red mark where there's a big van there now. That's where he wants to park his taco truck. Across the street, all the parking is taken. My suggestion would be, that was taken yesterday about 3 o'clock, 3:30. That's again the intersection of Keith and Armstrong. I'm looking down Keith. It's wide open. Across the street is a big park. There's no businesses there. He can park 50 feet, 70 feet, 100 feet from the intersection of Keith and Armstrong. It's a much better location than trying to put it where he wants in front of a business there on Armstrong. Here's a picture of across the street, the parking at Armstrong, directly across the street. Again, everything's filled. I go during the day. I can't find anything to park. I have to park on a sidewalk or double park. So my suggestion would be to put the truck in front of the park anywhere on Keith, which intersects with Armstrong. That's that picture right there.
Okay.
Again, it's wide open, it's a park, it doesn't interfere with any businesses. That would be my suggestion.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Did the applicant wish to speak? You're not required to, sir, but you're welcome to speak. Anyone want to speak? All right. You're going to translate for him?
Yes, Leo Public Works. I will assist in translating.
Okay, and name and spell it, please. for the record.
Leo Palacios, Leo, last name Palacios.
Okay, and the applicant?
Alfredo May.
Alfredo
Okay,
May. M-I-R-I-N. May.
Alfredo May.
May.
Oh, May, M-A-Y.
got it. Thank you.
Oh, si quieres hablar.
Lo que quiero preguntar.
Oh, he's saying, why is there a problem? Why can't I have my food truck at this location?
Okay. Anything else?
He doesn't understand why he just can't put his food truck there. ¿Otra cosa quieres decir más de eso? And that's all he has to say.
Okay, and with this, you can let him know this is a public hearing,
Y ese es un sitio público que puede
and the
decir lo
director
que
will make that
deseas.
decision.
La persona para aprobar el permiso va a escuchar todo esto, entonces si quieres decir otra cosa más, está disponible. Dime a mí, yo lo puedo traducir.
Yo no estoy tratando de vender diferentes.
He's trying to sell different food in the area. Otra cosa más que quieres decir.
No, está bien así. Yo lo quiero saber si...
Y tú quieres tu negocio en esa área, pienso. And he just wants to put the food truck there so he can be able to sell his food
Okay,
in that area.
okay.
Nada más.
todas las que-
That's it.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Gracias, gracias.
Would anyone else like to speak on this matter? All right, hearing none, we'll call the next item. Item number 3, order number 201-856, to consider the application from Flavors of Africa for the operation of a mobile food facility in the public right-of-way in the vicinity, and there's 3 separate locations, 405 Howard, 560 Howard, and, 560 Mission and 555 Mission Street.
So, Nicholas Persky from Public Works again. Just by way of background, this is the 560 Mission location.
Okay.
This is the 555 Mission location. And then right here is the 405 Howard location.
Okay.
And the applicant was unable to attend this morning, but they did want me to pass along a message.
Okay.
Thank you. So again, Nicholas Persky representing Public Works, Bureau of Streets and Mapping. I'd like to give a quick overview of permit 19 MFF-00020 applied for by Flavors of Africa. If approved, this permit would allow the applicant to occupy a portion of the parking lane in front of 405 Howard Street with a food truck on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., as well as 560 Mission Street on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and finally 555 Mission Street on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The applicant originally submitted this application to Public Works on June 6, 2019 for the 3 locations of 405 Howard, 560 Mission, and 555 Mission. After review of the proposed site plans for compliance with the Public Works Code and Public Works Order 182101, Public Works accepted the site plan for all locations on June 20th of 2019. Following approval of the site plans, Public Works sent out a notification as is required by Section 184.88 of the Public Works Code on June 25th, 2019. The applicant also posted a physical notification at all 3 locations on July 14th, 2019, for which pictures were sent to Public Works. In response to the public notification, Public Works received 4 letters of objection prior to the deadline of July 25th, 2019. 2 objections were related to both the 555 Mission and 560 Mission locations. 1 objection was specific to the 555 Mission location, and 1 objection was specific to the 405 Howard Street location. The objections that we received have subsequently led to today's hearing. I did want to respond to 2 of the points brought up in the objections. One of the objections stated the proposed mobile food facility at 555 Mission Street would be within 75 feet of a restaurant that is within the 555 Mission commercial building. While mobile food facilities are typically prohibited from being within 75 feet of restaurants, Section 18485, B5 of the Public Works Code has a specific exemption that the 75-foot restriction only applies when the restaurant has direct street access to its primary entrance, which is not the case for the restaurants within the 555 Mission building. And then second, one of the protests that Public Works received regarding the 405 Howard Street location was that it might not be allowable as it would require service windows on the left side of the truck as it's a one-way street. I did bring this up with the applicant who confirmed that their vehicle has service windows on both sides of the street, so it would be able to serve at that location based off of the truck's infrastructure. So that concludes my remarks on this permit, and again, available if you have any questions.
Very good. All right. Are any of the appellants here? Would they like to speak? You can take your turns. Come on up. Come on up. State your name and spell it for the record, please.
Yeah, my name is Caleb Canning, and it's C-A-L-E-B
Okay.
C-A-N-N-I-N-G.
Okay.
And I am a co-owner and partner at Heyday Restaurant, which is the restaurant that was referred to at 555 Mission Street. I'm not sure I really...
Excuse me, the name of the restaurant again,
Yeah,
please?
sure. It's Heyday, which is H-E-Y-D-A-Y. And I'm
Okay.
not sure I fully understand the explanation of why that 75-foot exemption is being made. Certainly, all of our entry and egress is from Mission Street. We're towards the back of the building, and there's a public plaza in front of us, but all of our customers come down from Mission Street, and the proposed location would directly block the sight line of Mission Street, so it really would hurt our business. And moreover, this little area on Mission Street is really well served by brick and mortar restaurants already. 560 Mission Street has 2 casual service restaurants, Mixed Greens and Split Bread. They both operate very well, and we've been at this location for 3 years. And more importantly, I think, there are ample food truck permitted places right along the Natoma Alley at the transit center that are fully permitted and looking for more trucks to participate. Same with the Salesforce Tower. So both of those have fully permitted great spaces for those that would not contribute to additional problems in the neighborhood, and also would have the facilities that those trucks need to succeed. So objecting basically A, because of the proximity to our entrance and the blocking of the sightlines to our entrance, and B, the ample availability of other spaces in the neighborhood.
Okay,
Did I do okay?
it's perfect. I'll submit it and give it to the director. However, I'll just tell you that that's not, those are not exemptions that are in the code. So, and this goes not just for you, but for anyone in regards, if there are objections to the food trucks or the way this is, and they're code related, you should certainly let your supervisor know so they can change the code. I mean, I pulled the code down, I read your thing, and there is an exemption, and it says specifically, only if the restaurant has a direct street access. That would mean a door not to the lobby of the building, but a door that goes straight out to Mission Street or 560 Mission
Well, we
Street.
do by way of the plaza.
Do you have a door from your restaurant?
Yeah, it goes right out to the plaza, which is right on Mission Street.
Okay, it goes to-
555 Mission.
well, that's the problem. It goes to the plaza. It doesn't go to the street, according to the code. So that would be the issue. So those would be
Yeah.
things that legislatively are probably better to be addressed. I mean, I'll present that to the director,
Yeah.
but his hands are tied by the code. You know, he's got to follow with the rules, and I mean, it's a very lengthy section. And so those kinds of issues come up frequently when there's mobile food trucks because of the competition in the neighborhood and the brick and mortar stores and things. But the director is handcuffed by what the code says. So those are appropriate issues to raise to the supervisors who write the ordinances that the director is obligated to follow.
Well, so my understanding, and in fact, the reason I'm here, and probably the reason a lot of the folks here are here today, is that our understanding was the code would allow someone to get permitted if they met all of those features of the code, but also with other things taken into consideration, such as the viability of the brick and mortar restaurants in the area, and also the other availability of food truck parking in more appropriate places. And so I'm hoping that's not just technically it can check off some boxes that are permitted by code, but a greater sense of what is in the neighborhood isn't appropriate in the analysis of whether or not to grant these specific parking spaces.
And that's why that's why these hearings are important, so that you can come and I can present those concerns to the director.
Yep.
But it's also, I would encourage you and others to, if you have concerns about the way the legislation is written, that those concerns should be, raised to those that can make the change.
We do that too, but the big thing is understanding the neighborhood, and I think that's why we hope that the director is able to analyze this with our feedback and with public feedback, both from myself, ownership of the building, and the other objections they've received along the same lines.
I appreciate you coming down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, someone else want to speak on this matter, or any of the three sites? Come on up. And again, for people who have come in late, there's a sign-in sheet that's, I think, working its way around so that people can find out the disposition of the director's decisions if you want to be notified by mail. So please avail yourself of that if you choose to. Sir, state your name and spell for the record.
My name is Renzikiel Regala, Renzikiel, and my last name is Regala, Regala.
R-E-G.
Regala.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Okay.
Right. So I'm Renzikiel Regala, and I am the operations manager for Bonito Poke. I will be representing them today, and I will also be representing another food truck in the area, Papalote. So I will give two valid and legitimate reasons as to why Flavors of Africa cannot feasibly operate in their proposed 405 Howard location from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The first one is Flavors of Africa is a food truck whose dimensions is equivalent to roughly 3 parking spaces. Not only would it occupy space in a city street that's very much crowded and busy, especially during their proposed times, but they're also proposing to park in a spot that is specifically marked as a white loading zone only. This location is articulated in the Public Works Order that you have provided, 201856. We did measurements, and they are parked specifically right in front of, again, the 405 building, and we have like photo evidence which shows the facts that I stated. So it's over there. So, as you can see, we took a picture during those times. We took several photos from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and not once has there been long enough time for it to be vacant, like 3 parking spaces vacant. So the feasibility is not there. Secondly, it's not on technicality, but we're already 3 food trucks operating in the area. As much as we would love to embrace more diversity and small businesses, our food trucks in that location are already struggling to get by. So adding one more to that particular area would not bode well for those who have been operating there for the longest time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else like to speak? Okay. Nicholas, can you speak to the white zone issue?
Yes. So for the 405 Howard Street location, just to respond to both the white zone issue and also the 3 parking space issue. So the diagram that was submitted by the applicant shows that the vehicle would fit within 1 parking space. It looks like it's an 18-foot long truck in a 20-foot long space between the 2 meters. So based off of what they submitted, it would be able to fit within the 1 space. And then the vehicle, as proposed, would actually not be in a white zone. In the area that was shown, there is a white loading area. It's immediately behind the white zone. It's in the first space behind the white zone. So it would not be parked in a white zone.
Very good. Just so everyone knows, these are all revocable permits. So should the applicant not comply with what has been submitted to Public Works could revoke the permit if there were complaints. Do you want to? Sure, come on up.
We'd like to review those same parking spaces for 555 Mission, because this is concern. We have the same concern on the parking side, that there's not a viable space for that. And so if we could review the same spot for 555 Mission, I'd appreciate it. And that way we'll at least know what to look out for to assume that they're.
Sure, you can show them what they're proposing. I mean, it's public record was what the applicant's been proposing. So either get hold of Nicholas and he can show you at the end of this hearing or in a little bit. He'll show you what's being proposed, and then you can track it to determine whether or not they're complying. And if not, certainly let them know, and they can address it if the director decides to approve this. Okay? Okay. Anyone else want to speak on this matter? Hearing none, we'll close this one, move on to the next one. Item number 4 on the agenda, order number 201857, to consider an application from the Treats by the Bay LLC for the operation of a mobile food facility in the public right-of-way in the vicinity of 1550 4th Street.
All right, and before I start, it is in that first parking space there on the right where the black car is located.
Okay.
Good morning. My name is Nicholas Percy, again, representing Public Works, Bureau of Street Use and Mapping. I would like to give a quick overview of permit 19 MFF-00042, applied for by Treats by the Bay. If approved, this permit would allow the applicant to occupy a portion of the parking lane in front of 1550 4th Street with a food truck on Thursdays from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., Fridays from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m., and Saturdays from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. The applicant submitted this application to Public Works on June 28, 2019 for the location of 1550 4th Street. After review of the proposed site plan for compliance with the Public Works Code and Public Works Order 182-101, Public Works accepted the site plan on July 5th of 2019. Following approval of the 1550 4th Street site plan, Public Works sent out a notification as is required by Section 184.88 of the Public Works Code on July 17, 2019. The applicant also posted a physical notification at the location on August 5th, 2019, for which a picture was sent to Public Works. In response to the public notification, Public Works received 3 letters of support and 1 letter of objection before the deadline of August 16, 2019. The objection has subsequently led to today's hearing. That concludes my remarks on this permit, and again, available if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, would anyone like to speak on this matter? Is the applicant here? Is the appellant here? Please state your name and spell
Hi,
it.
my name is Ali Keshavarz, A-L-I, last name Keshavarz.
Okay,
I and Jawad Bulang, my business partner, we are owner of Peasant Pies in Mission Bay, which is about 200 feet away from the parking space proposed for this food truck. We are a small mom and pop bakery. We opened this store in 2009. It was a lot of work for us to make this thing happen. We had to start from beginning with an empty shell, and the neighborhood wasn't really a neighborhood at the time. The business was very slow, and we had to endure, the beginning, the first 5-7 years till the business started getting some traction. 2 years ago, there was a Social Spark, which is like a food truck permanently located a block away on 4th Street. They started it, and they operate from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. They had a pretty big impact on the business. Our revenue dropped by about 20%, and by now, we're beginning to get back on, and this truck is going to come in right in front of our store. The issue with the food truck is a lot of the customers need to use the bathroom, and there is no bathroom facility in the area. Us and another business, Cafe Terrazzetto, we are the only two businesses that have bathroom facility. And usually when the food truck people come in, and we refuse to give service, there's always tension, and there's, employee situation is a problem that we don't like to endure. Contrary to the planning code, Article 5.8, Section 18486 and Section 18488, we did not receive any notice in the mail for this application at all. The applicant submitted a hand-drawn map, which is here, and all the information there is inaccurate. Number one, the width of the sidewalk is not 13 and 18, it's exactly the same, it's 12 feet. There's 2 fire hydrants located right where is that parking proposed. And as you can see on the photo, I have a phone, I don't know if you can see it or not. There are 2 fire hydrants. Actually, you will see it on the photo that the director has. So the traffic on that sidewalk area and the bathroom issues are really big, and those are something that we oppose. Okay. Thank you.
Nicholas, can I see that picture again, that first picture that you showed?
I can point to you the fire hydrant, pretty much, there's one right down here, and there's one down there. There are 2 fire hydrants, which is right in that park median.
Okay,
I wish I had a better picture to show you.
thank you. Would anyone else like to speak to this item? Please. Can you state your name and spell it, please?
Tamara Villarina, Tamara, last name Villarina.
Okay.
Hi, I'm from UCSF, and we object the permit for a variety of reasons. One is the application will generate noise, odors, and congestion directly in front of UCSF housing building. This is housing. That's housing there. Our tenants are students, medical residents, and researchers who work unusual hours, sometimes overnight shifts, and they need to sleep quietly during the day. A food truck in front of their residence would be disruptive. Sleep is a sensitive subject for our tenants, and they have varying schedules. Like I said, they're checking research, they're in the ER overnight hours. Our tenants have expressed sensitivity to smells. We are asked to help with these issues a lot. Our current retail along Jean Friend Way was built to vent these food odors properly, so the housing tenants are not affected. The truck may also the generator might omit unwanted odors as well, wafting into the windows of the housing tenants. Our tenants don't have barbecue grills available to them, and that's part of the reason, the sensitivity to smells. Also, in addition, as Ali mentioned, we feel this is unfair competition to our brick and mortar retailers who pay rent, utilities, common area maintenance to be at UCSF. And these tenants also, in addition to paying these fees, they also participate in programs at UCSF like the Healthy Beverage Initiative, which we do not sell sugar-sweetened beverages on campus. And also to echo what Ali said, that there is a food truck park just right there, just down the block, and we think that they should join the food truck parks bark.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Villa, when you say do you represent UCSF? Is that the official position?
Yes.
And from what
I'm from Retail Services.
retail services?
Yes. Oh, and I also want to say that there is no access to public restrooms. These buildings are all secured around, and you need to badge in or sign in to get in.
My understanding of reading is that the bathroom is a health department, so I believe that the applicant still needs to get a permit from the health department. So that's not an issue that will be decided.
That you guys
That will
decide.
be decided here. So there'll be another opportunity to raise that concern.
Okay, thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak on this matter?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Georgina Arias, Georgina. Last name Arias, Arias.
Okay, thank
I
you.
represent UCSF Transportation Services.
Okay, thank you.
One of the goals for the UCSF campuses is to ease access to our medical center, our emergency rooms for patients, visitors, and emergency vehicles. In order to do that, we're trying to reduce traffic congestion and reduce drive alone. In order to gain that, we provide sustainable options for all our staff, students, visitors, patients, and these are sustainable options that get cars off the road. Access and safety is key. Our 4th Street is a major corridor that goes through the middle of our campus with pedestrians, bicyclists, our UCSF shuttles, and personal vehicles. UCSF is doing its best to promote bicycling. There's a bike lane on 4th Street that you can see in the image. This bike lane connects the Dog Patch, Mission Bay, China Basin, Soma, and westbound along 16th Street. There are many bike paths, especially with the new Chase Center. It was important to increase access for non-vehicular traffic. The bike lane is between the traffic on the street lane, and the vehicle curb zone. And these, from the pictures you can see, these are personal vehicles. If you add a food truck that is wider, that'll further push bicyclists to that left edge of the bike lane and into vehicular traffic. Safety is a big concern, and as UCSF and the city both work towards Vision Zero, we want to eliminate injuries and fatalities for pedestrians and bicyclists. 4th Street is also a major corridor for UCSF shuttles, and our shuttles use this curb space adjacent to the requested parking space, just about here.
Okay.
And during our peak commute hours, the line to get onto that shuttle runs easily down here. People queue while they're waiting to get on the shuttles. So as UCSF encourages sustainable transportation, we anticipate greater ridership and more shuttle vehicles trying to meet this demand. And having a food truck not only blocking the queue, but just interfering with all the shuttles that will be pulling over in that zone, it becomes another safety issue between pedestrians and bicyclists and vehicles sharing that space. Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Great, thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Sir?
My name is Valon, V-A-L-O-N, first name Gajchevsi, last name G-R-A-J-Q-E-V-C-I.
Okay, I lost that. I'm sorry. I apologize.
QEVCI.
Got it. Got it.
I'm the owner of Cafe Terzetto. I'm right above Ali's Peasant Pie store, and I object this truck, if possible, please, to park there. I still am not sure where the parking spot would be, where the black car is, or where they actually submit it further down, where the other white car is further down there. But regardless, there is a, like the Tamara said and Ali said, there is a food truck park literally like 200 yards by down there. So I think maybe you should go there, and I'll be personally going and buying the food there sometimes, because I'm pro small business and brick and mortar and all that. But just that particular spot right there, I don't think so. It will be fair, and with all the food traffic now and everything else, like she said, that the people queue there for the shuttles, they stop right there. I don't think it's going to work. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else like to speak on this matter? Come on up.
Hi, good morning. My name is Zeeshan Ansari, Zeeshan Ansari. I am the managing partner of Publico Urban Taqueria, which is about, I would say, 100 feet away from that proposed truck. I brought a list of about 32 restaurants in past 3 months closed in San Francisco alone. So those are the restaurants just there in the spotlight. I can imagine there's many more been closed. And my objection is we've been suffering for a very long time because of the Spark Park. And now we finally just start seeing a little improvement in our business. And now this food truck is going to come along and try to take the very small piece of pie. They want to try to take that one also, be the partner in that pie, which is not big enough as is. So just want to express my concern and hope you guys listen to that and make appropriate decision.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else on this matter? Any member of the public wish to speak on this matter?
Good morning. I have an opening statement followed by some of the comments.
Can you,
Yeah, so my name's An. I'm the owner of the Trees by the Bay.
okay,
So,
can you state your name and spell it, please?
A-N-H.
Okay,
Yeah.
and last name?
Trong, T-R-U-O-G.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. So we are a small local mom and pop business whose goal is to serve high quality prepackaged kettle corn to as many people as possible. We want to build a successful business in San Francisco and create as many jobs as possible. We want to be a great business that will engage with and contribute to the city of San Francisco. Through our food truck operation, we'll be adding value to the surrounding areas and benefits the local community. Creating and expanding a small local business is not easy. Therefore, we humbly request that the city approves our permit to enable us to achieve our goals and visions and move forward with our proceeds. So I want to address some of the comments that are made previously. Regarding the food truck park, it is not 1 block away. It is 2 blocks away. And given that there is a food truck park there, does not mean other food trucks are not welcome in the area. Regarding the fire hydrant, I worked with Public Works to make sure that's cleared, and that's more than, I believe, 6 to 8 feet away from the mobile food facility. Regarding the noise, odor, and smell, my food truck is, we don't have vents or anything like that. We sell prepackaged kettle corn, and even if I were to sell hot foods there, we do have ventilation that will trap grease. You know, just in general, food trucks do have that. So there won't be any kind of smell. And even if there was a smell, you know, we're talking about open public space. So it's kind of hard for anyone in the building to kind of smell that in. And then regarding the folks lining up, so our food truck operations is, so we're selling prepackaged kettle corn. So the lines is not going to be queuing that long as like in a restaurant, right? We move along pretty quickly, so there won't be a long line as some people may think. Regarding the Publico restaurant being 100 feet away from the food truck, that's not true. It is 140 feet away, which is significantly further than the 75 feet minimum required based on the Public Works Code. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to speak on this matter? Sure. You're here. You can, I'm sorry. We're not going to go over this forever. So let's.
I just want to give you a couple of pieces of information. Regarding the ventilation, we spend, Publico, when we built Publico, it costed us $810,000 build-out cost to meet UCSF standard to keep the ventilation, smell, and all that good stuff under control. So making that comment that smell is, it's a public place and smell is not going to make any difference, that's not true. 100 feet, 140 feet, it's the same proximity, and I think it's going to impact my business. And I just wanted to let the gentleman know that Spark Park is the best place for him to park and spend a few bucks, and maybe he get a better business out of that. Okay.
Sir, you want to go ahead? I give him a second
The
chance.
Spark Social is 1 block and a quarter from the proposed location. It's not 2.
Okay.
And also, the drawing on the map is completely inaccurate and incorrect. The location of the benches, as he put in this map, is not correct. The benches are here, and
Okay.
the fire hydrant is right there where the parking lot is. So
Okay.
the drawing is completely inaccurate, and the fact the sidewalk is exactly the same width, it's not 13 and 18.
Okay.
Usually yesterday, it's exactly 12.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Hearing nothing else, we'll close that item and move on to the next one. Item number 5. Order number 201858. Consider an application from Street Meat for the operation of a mobile food facility in the public right-of-way in the vicinity of 777 Mariposa.
All right. Good morning again. My name is Nicholas Persky, representing Public Works, Bureau of Street Use and Mapping. I'd like to give a quick overview of permit 19 MFF-00013 applied for by Street Meat. If approved, this permit would allow the applicant to occupy a portion of the parking lane in front of 777 Mariposa Street on the Minnesota Street side, with a food truck on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The applicant submitted its application to Public Works on April 11th, 2019 for the location of 777 Mariposa Street. After review of the proposed site plan for compliance with the Public Works Code and Public Works Order 182101, and after revision to clarify dimensions on the site plan, Public Works accepted the site plan on June 7th, 2019. Following approval of the 777 Mariposa Street site plan, Public Works sent a notification as is required by Section 184.88 of the Public Works Code on July 17th, 2019. The applicant also posted a physical notification at the location on August 21st, 2019, for which a picture was sent to Public Works. The end date on the notification was modified to August 31st, 2019 to ensure an adequate noticing timeframe. In response to the public notification, Public Works received 2 letters of objection before the deadline of August 31st, 2019. The objections have subsequently led to today's hearing. I just wanted to note one thing for the record regarding one of the objections we received about traffic on Mariposa Street. While the address on the public notification was for 77 Mariposa Street, as that is the address of the fronting building, this truck would be located on Minnesota Street around the corner, as described in the written description on the notice of intent that was sent out on July 17th, 2019. The truck would not be allowed to operate on Mariposa Street under this permit. So that concludes my remarks on this permit. Again, available if you have any questions.
Great, thank you. Appellant here want to speak on this matter? Come on up.
It's very helpful. Hi, Tamara Villarina from UCSF Retail Services. Do I need to spell my name again?
No, actually, I found it on the appeal, so I found it myself. Thank you.
So, firstly, I want to point out on this photo that this building is still here. However, this and this is now housing called UCSF, the Tidelands. More housing was built there.
Okay.
And I believe the application for this food truck is right steps away from the entrance of our housing tenants. So we object this food truck application because it will generate noise, odors, and congestion directly in front of housing. Our tenants are students and medical residents and researchers who work unusual hours, sometimes overnight shifts, and they need to sleep quietly during the day. A food truck in front of the residents would be disruptive. Sleep is a sensitive subject for our housing tenants, and they have varying schedules, up all night, checking research, working in the ER. In addition, our tenants have expressed sensitivity to smells, and we are asked often to help resolve these issues. This truck may omit unwanted odors that would waft into the tenant windows. We do not make barbecue grills available for our tenant use. In addition, we feel that this creates unfair competition to brick and mortar retailers and also the hospital cafeteria, which is kitty corner to this location. Again, there's no access to public restrooms. And again, there is Spark Food Truck Park, possibly about 3 blocks away, that maybe they could join. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak on this matter?
Hello, Georgina Arias,
Okay.
UCSF Transportation Services. I'm going to share my phone with everyone,
It's upside down.
if you can see that.
Can you turn it around? It's upside down for me.
Well, I'm trying to keep it in line with the
Oh,
photo
I see,
that's
okay,
there.
okay. Oh, that's
So-
fine.
These two brown buildings that look like construction
Yep.
are actually where our housing is.
Okay.
So that's here and here.
Got it.
We also have further up on the street, which is here, offices for UCSF. And our shuttle services not only take care of the Tidelands housing, but those administrative offices. So we have shuttle service that runs along Minnesota and also comes around that corner, which, well, you can't really see it on here, but it turns around the corners of Minnesota. So regardless of where that food truck is, we have shuttles that'll be passing just adjacent to it. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Is the applicant here? You don't have to speak, but if you came down, you're more than welcome to.
Hi, my name is Benita. I'm from Street Meat Taco Truck. My husband's actually the one who put in the application.
Benita, your last name, please?
Lopez.
Okay.
So we're bringing a wider variety of food into the area. Spark is about 7 blocks away, and we're not capable of getting into Spark every day. So we are part of Spark also. Further, I have a daughter who passed away of brain cancer, and I literally had to live in the hospital while she was dying. And I know personally I could not afford the food at UCSF. And the other day, I went with another one of my daughters who has periodic fever syndrome, and she has to see a lot of specialists. And I went into the cafeteria and I couldn't afford everything that was in there. My daughter got to eat one slice of pizza and I ate a cold sandwich, and that's all I could afford, and one soda. The soda was a Sprite Zero, which is filled with aspartame, which is not healthy for a child's brain. So we're bringing food to the area, but we're not impeding traffic. We are a whole half a block away towards regular housing and other businesses, because there is nowhere else to eat on that side of Mission Bay. We're bringing more food to other businesses too. So this actually never even had anything to do with UCSF to begin with. We know that the ballpark is going to be bringing all the traffic. The new Chase Stadium is going to be the one who's bringing all the traffic and all the noise. And, there's nothing that we can do about that. And apparently UCSF couldn't do anything about it because the Chase Stadium was built there, even though they had objections about how the ambulances were going to get around all of that traffic whenever there's a big event. And that's another reason why we decided to go into that portion of the neighborhood, because we're going to be, the Chase Stadium is further down, like 5 blocks. No, maybe more than that, about between 5 and 7 blocks. And we're further up. We're more towards Bayview, on the Bayview side. And we're actually really conveniently located next to the freeway. So we are out of the line of traffic.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public speakers? All right, seeing none, I'll close this item. Move on to the next one. Next item is item number 6 on the agenda. Order number 201859, to consider an application from Breakfast at Tiffany's for the installation and maintenance of a parklet in the public right-of-way in the vicinity of 2499 San Bruno Avenue. Anyone that came in late, please feel free to sign, or please sign in so you can get the dispositions from the director.
All right. Good morning again. Nicholas Persky, representing Public Works Bureau of Street Use and Mapping. I would like to give a quick overview of Parklet Permit 19 PKT-00042, applied for by Bingnan Feng. If approved, this permit would allow the applicant to occupy a portion of the parking lane in front of 2499 San Bruno Avenue with a parklet, as shown in the submitted site plans. By way of background, the parklet structure itself was approved by Public Works Order 182544, adopted back on May 13th of 2014, for temporary placement at various locations along Ocean Avenue. The application for you is for a more permanent placement on 2499 San Bruno Avenue and would be a formal permit, whereas the prior parklet placement was solely through the aforementioned Public Works Order. The applicant submitted this application to the Planning Department on October 29th, 2018. The Planning Department conducted an initial review and found the location to be acceptable to their standards. And Mr. John Francis from the Planning Department here is here if you have any questions. After review of the proposed site plan for traffic-related concerns, MTA also approved the plans on January 23rd, 2019. As Public Works had received initial approval from the Planning Department, the applicant posted a physical notification as is required by Public Works Order 183392 at the location on December 11th, 2018, for which a picture was sent to Public Works. In response to the public notification, Public Works received one letter of objection before the deadline of December 20th, 2018. The objection has subsequently led to today's hearing. I did want to note one thing for the record, which is that on the proposed site plan for this permit application, there is a bike rack on San Bruno Avenue right at the parklet entrance. To ensure ADA guidelines are met, Public Works, if this permit were to be conditionally approved, would condition the permit such that the bike rack must be moved before the permit is ultimately approved to ensure adequate path of travel. So that concludes my remarks on this permit, and again, available if you have any questions.
Great, thank you. Is the appellant here? Is the applicant here? Would the applicant like to speak? You're not required to, but if you'd like to. Hi, please state your name and spell it.
Hello, my name is Jean, Jean as in Nancy, Francisco, like San Francisco. I know, right? I am the Director of Operations for the restaurant group that is where Breakfast at Tiffany's is part of. And I just wanted to speak on behalf of my boss and Bing Nun Fang. And we were looking to, the neighborhood itself is a place that's very dear to my boss because that's one of the areas that he lived in after he moved from China to San Francisco. It's a beloved spot, and after he took over Breakfast at Tiffany's, he wanted to make sure that the neighborhood was as active since it was basically a very important part of his life. And so by adding the parklet, we thought that we could not only activate the space, but also introduce the entire neighborhood. And just, there's a lot of families, a lot of students in the area that we wanted to accommodate not only with our restaurants, but also provide a public space where they can relax and sit and, enjoy the neighborhood, not really, being able to accommodate as much as possible and being able to draw attention to this neighborhood that it deserves. So we thought the parklet would be a great addition to the neighborhood.
Great,
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Reed DeVaz McGowan. First name is R-E-E-D, and then 2 last names with a space.
Okay.
D-A-V-A-Z space M-C-G-O-W-A-N.
Okay.
I'm the Executive Director of Youth Art Exchange, and we are the organization that did the design build of this parklet with public high school students in San Francisco. And we work very closely with high school youth to understand how to bring communities together and how to build community. And this parklet is really intended to bring people together. And there are so many restaurants and businesses that will benefit from this being along San Bruno. It's not just Breakfast at Tiffany's it's going to benefit. There are all sorts of little bakeries and other places where people can come and gather. We have worked with the Portola Neighborhood Association for a number of years to try and secure a parklet. And when we had the opportunity to repurpose a parklet from another neighborhood to come here, it was something that they were really supportive of as well. And I believe they submitted a letter. So we just wanted to share that there is a lot of support for this along the commercial corridor. And we feel like this is going to be a really great benefit for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak in this matter? All right, hearing none, we'll close this and move on to the next item. The next item is item number 7, order number 201860. Consider notice of violation 7362 issued to Barrier Lightworks. Violation is for improper site protection at the intersection of 23rd Street and South Van Ness Avenue.
Good morning. My name is Tedman Wong, spelled Tedman, last name Wong, Wong, and I'm here representing Public Works Infrastructure Construction Management. And this is a hearing for the notice of violation issued to Bay Area Lightworks for improper site protection at the intersection of 23rd Street and South Van Ness.
Okay.
Some history. On Wednesday, September 12th, 2018, the contractor was restoring conduit trench across 23rd Street, just west of the intersection at South Van Ness Avenue. At approximately 11:20 a.m., a pedestrian tripped and fell while walking over the trench. Upon arrival, the city construction inspector found an open excavation that was not covered or protected in accordance with guidelines prescribed by the department. As a result, the inspector issued notice of violation 7362 to contractor for $1,000 per day, commencing with the first day of the violation for failing to protect the excavation. The issue was corrected the next day, and the violation was closed with a final penalty of $1,000. This was the appeal letter submitted by Bay Area Lightworks. This is a notice of violation prepared by the construction inspector. This was the open trench that was being restored at 23rd and South Van Ness on September 12th, and the following day when it was back restored fully.
Okay.
This concludes my remarks.
Great, thank you very much. Is anyone here to speak on behalf of this item? The appellant. Sir, can you state your name and spell it for the record, please?
Good morning. My name is Niall O'Flynn, NIALL_FLYNN. I'm a superintendent project manager for Bay Area Lightworks. I first want to say that our company takes safety is like our #1 priority, both our workers and the public. And we want to accept full responsibility for the open trench. But I would like to state we didn't fix it the next day. We put plates over it so no problems would happen. And then we met with the city and we had internal meetings about what we can do to prevent this from happening again. And from the letter Herman Lee sent, he quoted section 2.4.81.a. It states that responsible parties to immediately remedy the violation or be subject to imposition of administrative penalties. We believe we fixed the problem that day, so we felt like we corrected the problem and we shouldn't be fined for the problem. Lastly, we would like to say that BAL has worked with the city for over 15 years, and we've never had an incident like this and plan not to have one again. We consider ourselves a good, safe company, and we'd like to keep it that way. Thank you for your time.
Great, thank you. Any member of the public who wishes to speak on this? Anyone else? Okay. Hearing none, we'll close this item, move on to the next one. The next one is order number 201889 to consider and adopt regulations implementing the requirements of San Francisco Public Works Code, Article 25, and revising and superseding Public Works Order number 184,504, period.
Good morning. My name is Leo Palacios, Leo, last name Palacios, and I'm from Public Works, Bureau of Street Use and Mapping. We had a hearing on this item on September 4, 2019. We called another hearing today to discuss approving a revised personal wireless service facility order. To give some context on the changes to the order, the Federal Communication Commission has made legislative changes to wireless facilities. One of the changes imposes a 60-day shot clock for existing structures, which means the city has 60 days to make a determination on a wireless application. The Board of Supervisors adopted amendments to Article 25 of the Public Works Code to accommodate those changes. The ordinance came into effect on September 9, 2019. We are making revisions to Public Works Order 184,504 to accommodate those amendments to Article 25 by the Board of Supervisors. Principal changes to the order include the permitting of a wireless equipment on PUC or MTA poles have ceased. The applicant wishes to add a wireless facility on a PUC or MTA pole, they will need to follow the corresponding pole owner's procedures. Application requirements for PG&E poles through Public Works will remain constant for the most part. Public Works will make a final determination to approve or deny an application for a personal wireless service facility site permit within 60 days of the application submittal. Shortened review time for agencies, but they are still subject to a proper review for determination of the tier compatibility standards and the public health compliance standard. The referrals to planning and Rec and Park for compatibility will be ongoing until we can enact an objective design standard. Because the amendment doesn't require tentative approvals or associated public notice, we will increase the posting and mailing requirements for final determination. Instead of notifying any person owning property or residing within 150 feet of the proposed location, applicants will notify any person owning property within 300 feet and any person who is a tenant in any residential property within 300 feet of the proposed pole location. Also, instead of notifying neighborhood groups within 300 feet of the proposed location, applicants will need to notify neighborhood groups within 600 feet of the proposed location of the facility with the corresponding district supervisor. Applicants will also increase their posting notice from 2 to 4 locations. The public will still have an option to appeal the permit. Applicants will have the option to pay the in lieu tree payment. Due to these amendments, Public Works will be able to shorten the wireless permitting process as we are confined within federal law. These amendments contained in this new order are intended to incorporate all the changes made to Article 25. Again, the purpose of this order is to implement the approved ordinance. Modifications are limited. Please give us a week to hear comments and make minor changes. We will notify stakeholders and the public of the final order. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, anyone wish to speak on this? Hi, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Catherine Dodd. I live at 963 Duncan Street in San Francisco. I'm here to urge the rejection of the so-called, excuse me, I'm here to urge the rejection of the so-called, quote, objective standards for, quote, personal wireless facilities. This second set of proposed standards uses the acronym 4G and 5G for the first time. Up until now, you've hidden the proposed huge, ugly cell towers by calling them personal wireless facilities. The thesaurus lists the words associated with objectives as impartial, detached, neutral, unbiased, unprejudiced, independent, dispassionate, disinterested, and fair. These proposed standards are not impartial or unbiased or unprejudiced, since telecom consultants assisted in drafting them. They are detached and dispassionate and disinterested because the authors of these standards are detached from and disinterested in what these might mean to the residents of the city when refrigerator-sized radiation-generating facilities are put on light poles in front of their homes. The process and the standards were not fair when favor is given to the desires of telecom companies rather than to the taxpayers and residents of San Francisco. There was no public input and the only public hearing before the Land Use Committee because none of us knew what personal wireless facilities were. Now the standards themselves preempt public involvement in approval and permitting of the wireless antennas, which would need to be every 300 feet in order to be effective, and which will be the size of a refrigerator, and only 6 feet away from our windows. The Department of the Environment, who worked on this issue under Mayor Newsom, did not even know this was happening. The Department of Health has been asked for an assessment of the impact of wireless antennas by the Board of Permit Appeals, which they have not received to date. Yet DPA is rushing to implement unobjective standards to comply with the FCC, which according to the Harvard Ethics Report is a, quote, captured agency. That means the telecom industry owns the decision makers. Perhaps that's what's happening in San Francisco. These cell towers will need a 3, 4, as well as 5G antenna because 5G transmits data quickly, and 3 and 4G are used to communicate voice and email, etc. That's a lot of radiation that will tell us, and they will tell us it's safe, just like the paint industry told us leaded paint was safe, and we're still treating children from lead exposure. 2 and 3G are not safe, and there's national and international research to prove it. DPW prides itself in protecting the public. Why are you putting us in danger and lowering our property values? Reject these biased standards. Other localities have adopted safer standards. Look to them. Thank you.
Ms. Dodd, can you spell your last name for me, please?
DODD.
Okay, thank you.
I'm a nurse.
Thank you.
Hi there. My name is Thea Selby, and I am a resident at 434 Haight Street. And we actually had a cell phone tower installation go up. And at the time, it was absolutely promised, not only, even though it could swivel the entire amount, that it would never be facing our window and that we would never have more than one of those cell phone tower installations on a single pole. With this particular regulation, these standards that you are considering at DPW accepting, there will be up to 5 cell phone towers on one utility pole as close as 6 feet from your window. This is not within, it's not the same standards, it's much worse standards, and we don't know if it's dangerous or not. We also have no say. Because Verizon and AT&T and T-Mobile and all of these companies, the telecom companies who are also the FCC folk, they came from the telecom companies, the people who now rule the FCC, are deciding where to put these things. This is not right. The people of San Francisco and the government of San Francisco, the government's role is to protect the people. The people are supposed to have a say. They have literally taken away all of the possibility of having a say or protesting. The 60-day shot clock of which he spoke is part of a suit that San Francisco is a part of in the 9th Circuit Court of Appeals as we speak right now. In other words, we are protesting the 60-day shot clock at the national level with 100 and other cities at the same time that we're trying to rush through the very shot clock and the terrible possible regulations that are here. There are people from Rec and Park who have done their best to make sure that we are not going to be harmed when we're in our parks, but no, the schools don't have any, nobody's looking out for the schools. The firefighters of California have said they don't want these cell phone towers installations on top of their fire stations, but the schools still don't have anything that says that they can't be there. These regulations are not baked, they're not ready. We need to rescind and replace the changes that were made in the first place. That is our ask. Do not please put these regulations. They are not good for anybody. We have not had a say, the people of San Francisco. And honestly, the supervisors tell us that they didn't know what they were voting for, and it was on a consent calendar. So what is that? Is that government oversight? I don't think so. Thank you.
Ms. Selby, can you spell your name for me, please, so I get it?
Last name is Selby, S as in Sam, E-L-B as in boy, Y.
And then first name is Thea?
Thea, T-H-E-A.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Next.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Dr. Eliza Nemser. I'm a PhD geoscientist. I also live in Coal Valley.
Doctor, I'm sorry, can you, Eliza, E-L-I-Z-A?
Right. My last name is N, like Nancy, E-M, like Mary, S-E-R.
Got it. Thank you.
Together with my neighbor, friend Deppendal, we recently appealed a wireless permit at 2 Grattan Street. That permit was originally denied, and then they reversed the decision and it was approved without changing the design in any significant way. We appealed, and our appeal was upheld. It was one of the few appeals that were upheld. And ultimately, the planning department said that it had been erroneously approved. It shouldn't have been approved. Because we experienced that, it makes me very uncomfortable that there are efforts to further streamline and accelerate the permitting process. We went to great lengths and spent a lot of our time showing that the permit had been erroneously approved, and the Board of Appeals upheld our claim. And I think that a lot of people don't have the time and resources to dedicate to that, but certainly I'm sure it wasn't the only erroneously approved permit. I wanted to bring your attention to a recent August 2017 decision in the United States Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit. The NRDC and a series of tribes contested the 2018 FCC order, contending that it didn't adequately have review under the National Historic Preservation Act and HPA and the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA. In the 2018 decision that I'll quote from right now, as part of an effort to expedite the rollout of 5G service, the Commission has removed some regulatory requirements for the construction of wireless facilities. The order exempted most small cell construction from two kinds of previously required review, NHPA and EPA. The Commission failed to justify its determination that it is not in the public interest to require review of small cell deployments. We therefore grant the petitions in part because the order's deregulation of small cells is arbitrary and capricious. The Commission did not adequately address the harms of deregulation or justify its portrayal of these harms as negligible. In light of its mischaracterizations of small cells' footprint, the scale of the deployment it anticipates, the many expedients already in place for low-impact wireless construction, and the Commission's decades-long history of carefully tailored review, the FCC's characterization of the order as consistent with its longstanding policy was not logical and rational. Finally, the Commission did not satisfactorily consider the benefits of review. We hold that the order's deregulation of small cells is arbitrary and capricious. So I just wanted to point out that that ruling was that the efforts to streamline and accelerate with the shot clock, the deployment was not determined to be lawful. And based on my personal experience of having gone, again, to great lengths to show that the permit outside my home was erroneously approved, I feel that other citizens should have a say in helping to bring to light whether or not certain permits were approved. And so this should not be any further accelerated or streamlined. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next please.
Good morning. My name is Nancy Starr, Nancy-Starr.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's double twinkle to you. I have two comments.
Okay.
I would like, on the record, for the amount of money that Verizon has spent in its political engagement to the tune of about $1 million to the elected officials of San Francisco. And the second thing that I have to say is there is a movie called The Lives of Others, and one of the famous lines from it is, "Denk an Ihr Publikum." Think about your public. The public voice is being muzzled in this entire process. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. You state your name and...
Good morning. My name is Yoram Wolberger, W-O-L-B-E-R-G-E-R. I'm a resident of San Francisco. I live on 97 Webster Street. This is the proposal that we were protesting and appealed, and both the protest and the appeal was rejected. I just heard this week, suddenly, actually yesterday, that there was this amendment or a vote on the amendment to change the Article 25. Before I heard that, I bought an EMF reader and I'm checking the radiation. And when they install the antenna in front of our house, which they're in the process doing, I'm going to keep checking. So this is what I'm going to keep doing and check that what they are saying is correct according to what I heard in the answers of Verizon. But what brought me here today is a concern that, yes, I lost my case. My 14-year-old daughter is going to sleep 12 feet away from the one antenna that they said that they're going to put up there. But now I'm hearing that they have the right anytime to put up 5 antennas. And I'm thinking about my daughter and I'm thinking about myself, but I'm thinking also about other people who couldn't afford maybe a $150 device to make sure that they keep up their promises about radiation, which is harmful according to many scientists. I'm thinking about other people who, especially when I read last night, I looked at online, what was the amendment about, and I picked just page 18 to page 22 from the Article 25, which seem to be crossed, and I'll just put them out there visually so you can see. But basically, in all these pages, I don't understand the DPW representative who said that the public is going to have actually more notice and more ability to protest and to know. It seemed like what you voted on or recommended and might approve today are actually to take away the ability to protest and to know. So I have first is a question to DPW. I don't understand how and where in Article 25 or anywhere it's written that we're going to get, or other people are going to get more opportunities. Actually, it seems like it's the opposite. And the second, I would like my friends and my neighbors who talked to me before, I'd like you to rescind and reject this application because the public had no idea of the amendment, and the public should know and should be able to protest and to say what they think. Thank you.
Okay. Sir, I'm sorry, I didn't get your first name, last name, and can you spell it for me, please?
Sure. First name is Yoram, Y-O-R-A-M, like Mary.
Okay.
Last name is Wolberger, W-O-L-B as boy, E-R-G-E-R.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other speakers on this matter? Yes, sir.
Good morning, Hearing Officer Goldberg. My name is Paul Albritton, A-L-B-R-I-T-T-O-N, and I'm outside counsel for Verizon Wireless.
Okay.
And I want to say that San Francisco has probably the most rigorous regulation of wireless facilities in the right-of-way of anywhere in the state. We're reviewing now a 70-page document, which is an order that regulates how we place facilities in the right-of-way. You saw one photo of an approved facility on Webster Street. That's the sort of facility that we install. We're streamlined to fit on a utility pole, not adding infrastructure to the right-of-way. And the photograph that was shown earlier is not anything that has been built by Verizon or anyone else that I'm aware of in San Francisco. I want to make a few quick comments. We provided written comments. I'll provide another copy to you here. And just to get on the record, Section 11 refers to a 60-day shot clock, which is accurate, and there have been some good revisions with respect to the shot clock, but it still says that the decision of the director is made the final decision within 60 days of the date that the application is complete, and the shot clock is based on the filing of the application, and we've made some suggestions for revisions. With respect to modifications, it says that facilities, a modification permit does not extend or renew the existing permit. We understand that, but when there's a modification to be made in the last year or two of a facility, the carrier needs to decide whether to make that investment. We're recommending that we be allowed to apply for a renewal at the same time that we applied for a modification if we elect to do so, so that we know the investment in that modification will have the lifetime of the permit itself. There is a provision that says that any deficiency on one pole, it's not quite clear, but it looks as though it can prevent or result in the denial of applications on other poles, and that's in Section 23, and we'd like that clarified that a deficiency can prevent an application for that pole that's affected by the deficiency, but not every other application that may be in process for that particular carrier. Those are our comments. We have some other comments on the objective standards that I'll come up and mention a little bit later. But generally, we think it's very important for the order to follow the 190-19 ordinance that's been passed by the Board of Supervisors. As you've heard, there are multiple processes and opportunities for appeal for these facilities that have been exercised and successful. And so the process, I think, is working. The process does double the notice radius that we've been obligated to provide. It was 150-foot notice, now it's 300-foot notice, and it's clearly to both property owners and occupants. So the noticing has been vastly, it's been doubled, and the distance that we have to provide for notice to neighborhood associations has also been doubled to 600. So those doubling of notice and continuing opportunities for on utility poles to be heard by the Board of Appeals. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Would anyone else like to speak on this matter?
Good morning. Sharon James, Government Relations Manager for Crown Castle.
SHARONJAMES?
Correct.
Crown?
Crown Castle. Crown's a CLEC in the state of California, also largest provider of wireless infrastructure in the country.
Okay.
We're building networks throughout San Francisco, and so we comply with Article 25 and submit our applications through DPW. I just wanted to add to the comments made by Mr. Albritton. We too have a concern about the 60-day timeline when applications are submitted. The way this reads, they're actually deemed complete by Department of Public Works. However, after that's deemed complete, they go to Planning and Public Health, who also have comments. And the way the federal law reads is that you submit the application, again, the shot clock starts on that date, not on the deemed complete date, and there is one notice of incomplete that is allowed for. You cannot add to it. So I think there needs to be some clarification in the definitions or the clarifications here that would speak to the fact that we get deemed complete from Public Works, and following that, we're getting comments from Planning and Public Health. And it's very difficult to be able to monitor the 60-day shot clock when there are added comments after the application is deemed complete. So we'll provide those comments in writing to DPW in the next few days. However, that to me is a major problem with the way the article reads. Additionally, in the design standards, I just wanted to note that it restricts the number of antennas to a wooden pole, or excuse me, to a steel or concrete pole to 4, and that could, I think, restrict the technology going forward because there will be multiple 5G antennas on a pole. Just something further to note. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Okay, so you were saying that after DPW does deemed complete, it's Planning and Health have comments? Is that the two departments?
I'm sorry?
The two departments that can comment after deemed complete were Planning
and Health.
Okay.
Right.
Very good.
Thank you.
Anyone else with comments?
Yes, we live here.
Can you state your name and spell it?
Pardon me?
Your name and spell it, please?
Jeff Rogers. We live here. We have our babies here. We raise our families here. We live in all the different neighborhoods. Some of us have several favorite neighborhoods. We've fought for a long time to make a good neighborhood characters. In fact, it's even in the city charter, the neighborhood character and the atmosphere of our neighborhoods. And we have also voted for the supervisors. Most of us who lived in the districts voted for the supervisors, and we've fought for a long time to build up neighborhood character and take care of our neighborhoods, and for them to just give it away to these mega tech corps for what? I mean, it kind of begs the question if it isn't some kind of corruption, because we are the voters, we're the people that live here, and why are we giving away our neighborhood characters and our atmosphere and our way of life to these mega corporations that only want to spy on us and enslave us with their devices, their devious devices, both electronic and other means. We're the people. So please, I wish there was more people to hear it, but it's not right to just do that, to just give away something that's a precious resource of the neighbors of San Francisco, and to give it away like that to someone that has no real care.
Mr.
Thank you.
Rogers, the spelling the last name, R-O-G-E-R-S?
R-O-G-E-R-S.
R-O-D or G?
R-O-G.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you.
You've already spoken, ma'am.
I wanted to clarify something that was said about the shot clock. It didn't say anywhere in the rules that you couldn't speak twice.
Well, 3 minutes is 3 minutes. I think you're 3 minutes up. I'll grant that. I just don't want to start this whole second round of 3 minutes and 3 minutes and 3 minutes. Does
I
that make
respect
sense?
that.
Okay.
And it is Dr. Dodd, just like it's Dr. Mesner.
Okay, thank you very much.
I want to point out that I met with the department that does the approvals of the checkoffs, whether or not the applicant has met them. The shot clock that the FCC is allowing is 90 days. We're actually coming in far below that. And all they can do is measure what was said in the law. It's not like there's any ambiguity. It's either there or it's not there. So the idea that it's going to take a tremendous amount longer is misleading. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? No, we're not going to, no.
Yeah, it'll take 10 seconds. I
All right,
I
10
had
seconds.
17 seconds left when I finished. Yeah, that is that, when we got up here the first time, our friends, Mr. Albrighton, he made it clear that he felt that the notification only had to go to renters or owners. And that is not what it said in the original legislation. There's no improvement in this legislation. It is simply because I and my husband got up here and said, guys, it's got to go to both. I mean, 65% of our people are renters, and it says that in the legislation that they've now sort of bowed to that. So I just want to be clear on that. This is not something that they've given to us. It's something that we have it has not been easy taken. Okay? Thanks.
Very good, thank you. Okay, I think I'll close it now. So we'll close this matter. Let's just, someone new that wishes to speak. All right. Item 890, to consider and adopt the objective standards implementing the requirements of Article 25 of the Public Works Code.
Hello. Okay. Good morning. My name is Leo Palacios, and I'm from Public Works Bureau of Street Use and Mapping. We called the hearing today to adopt the objective standard. Article 25 of Public Works Code, as amended by ordinance number 19019, requires Public Works to adopt an objective standard to determine whether a proposed wireless service facility to be installed on a utility pole satisfies the applicable Tier A, B, or C compatibility standard. Objective standards are standards to determine whether a proposed personal wireless service facility satisfies the applicable Tier A, B, or C compatibility standards based on factors that are quantifiable, measurable, and verifiable. To define what a Tier A, B, or C is, Tier A is considered a unprotected location. Tier B is considered planning protected or zoning protected location. And Tier C is considered a park protected location. If the design doesn't meet the objective standard, we will refer the application to planning and/or Rec and Park. The objective standard was a collaborative effort of all corresponding agencies, which include planning and Rec and Park. The purpose of this hearing is to provide a forum for stakeholders and members of the public to make comments to the objective standard. We would like to take in all comments and make changes if appropriate. If need be, we will have another hearing in the future to address the revised objective standard. Thank you.
All right, members of the public.
Paul Albritton, outside counsel of Verizon Wireless, ALBRITTON. On the objective standards, the document I provided you earlier had a red line of the minor changes that we proposed to the objective standards, and we're not talking about refrigerators. One of our comments asks to go, our standard antenna is 14.6 inches in diameter. It says 14 in the objective standards, and we're asking to put 15 inches in order to allow these standard installations, of which there are now hundreds in San Francisco that have been approved through the process. Another change is the antenna height allows for 10 feet above the height of an existing pole. State law requires that we have a 6-foot separation to protect linemen. So it's a 6-foot bayonet extension that goes from the top of the pole to the bottom of our equipment so that there's no metallic equipment between the transmissions lines and for 6 feet. Our antenna is then 4 feet. So you'd think 6 plus 4 would be 10 feet. But in fact, we need to put a bracket between the antenna and the mount in order to allow cabling to go through and be hidden. And so we're asking in one of our requests for that to be extended from 10 feet to 12 feet, which is similar to the images you saw earlier of the Webster site that was approved by the Board of Appeals. Similarly, that same provision says that we shouldn't exceed the height of the zoning district height for that particular plus 10 feet in that area. And we don't think that zoning district heights are appropriate because many of the utility poles are already taller than the zoning district height. We think that it's appropriate for the objective standards to have a height above the existing pole, but not many of these poles are already higher than the zoning district. We have other minor comments going from a few inches to a few inches that we hope will be considered by the department to allow us to build the sites that have been already approved and gone through Board of Appeal hearings and have been approved by the Board of Appeals, and appreciate that there will be a more objective process. It makes a lot more sense for the resources of DPW and for the carriers to have standards that we can look at and comply with and not require a new review every time that we file an application. So thank you. Those are our comments.
Anyone else want to speak? Doctor?
Thank you, Dr. Catherine Dodd, DODD. I would like my previous remarks applied to this item. I'm sorry I didn't realize there were two separate items, but I will once again say that clearly telecom is driving the distances. How would DPW have even known that it should be 14.5 inches and it's actually 14.6 if they hadn't gotten information from telecom in the drafting of these? The public was not involved. This is not an objective standard.
Anyone else like to speak on this? Please. Doctor?
Hi, Dr. Eliza Nemser. I just want to point out that the kind of few inches here or there isn't as nominal as that might sound. In the instance of 2 Grattan Street, which we appealed and our appeal was upheld, those couple inches were really at issue. And really, the specific issue was whether a 40-foot pole would, quote, significantly detract from the neighborhood, which is the Coal Valley Historic District. And I mean, really, I think it's really important for planning to weigh in and for residents to weigh in, because just nudging that limit up a couple inches is actually not just like nudging it up a couple inches. And that really needs to be part of a conversation about preserving the aesthetics of neighborhoods and the integrity and the beautiful neighborhoods that we have here in San Francisco. So I just wanted to make it clear that that's not just like a little nudge. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
DSLB again, thank you. So I think what I really wanted to talk about is Juul cigarettes. So San Francisco's approach to cell phone power installations should be exactly San Francisco's approach to electronic cigarettes. Until they number more than one per utility pole, including, of course, the 5G variety, are deemed safe by a reputable authority, a third-party authority, which they have not been. San Francisco should not approve standards permitting more than the current number of types, which you are doing with your regulations. There's no requirement to add cell phone tower installations to what is now allowed, but DPW has decided that they can add, we know why they have decided that, but that they can add additional cell phone tower installations without even figuring out whether the prior single cell phone tower installation has any health effects. We know that the aesthetics, we won on aesthetics. There have been cases where San Francisco has been upheld because Supervisor John Avalos actually got aesthetics into, that we need to take those into account into the original regulations. And that is how the very few cases that have been overturned were overturned on the basis of aesthetics, right? Aesthetics, that's now been by the law of the land, again, at the federal level, yes, you can consider aesthetics when you're looking. Well, you recall my picture, and I can't imagine how aesthetically we're going to be able to say that having 4 plus the boxes that they need, apparently there's some ancillary box or something that each of those 4 need, is going to be aesthetically not affecting not only areas that can be considered historic because they have the money, this is an equity issue, but also my area is traditionally African American, there's a lot of low-income housing there. Why should we aesthetically have to deal with this? This is not in any way aesthetics. Remember, we're upheld as being able to be considered. This is not at all aesthetic, and it's not going to be. So I think we really need to just pause. You don't need to accept these right now. We're going to do our best to get the supervisors to rescind and replace this because the supervisors did not know what they were voting for, they tell us. So we're going to get them to do our best to rescind and replace with something that people have a say, government has a say, aesthetics are in place, and we have the possibility also of waiting until the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals makes their decision. We don't need to be ahead of them. We don't need to be ahead of them. So I urge you respectfully to just take a pause, wait on this, because there's going to be work to rescind and replace 25, the changes, 190-19. This is an aesthetic nightmare that they are asking for, and if you recall, one of the Verizon representatives requested more than 4. So imagine what this is going to look like and potentially feel like once we're allowed to talk about health, which we're not allowed to at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Speaking of aesthetics, one of my daughters who was born in San Francisco when she was little, she said, I don't like the way all those wires look. Now somebody is going to have to explain to us voters of San Francisco how it is objective to give away a precious resource, a precious natural resource that we have here in San Francisco. How is it objective to just give it away when we never agreed to it's something that we fought for, our neighborhood character? Somebody's going to have to explain how that's objective to us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other speakers?
Hi, my name is Joram Mohlberger. I'd like to, the same comments I had on the previous article, I'd like to apply to this one. I didn't know that there are 2. There's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of secrecy, things are not clear, and I said that before. When I'll just summarize it again. When the residents fought the cell phone tower, they were told there would be no other installation on the pole. and now there can be up to 4 more of the same utility pole. I have an image, I took a picture today. They're in the process of installing what we heard the other side saying is aesthetically in compliance, or I don't remember the word. These are ugly. They're right next to a historic building who's from the 1800s, which is where we live. The boxes are about not more than 6 inches above my head, as you can see here. It is dangerous, it is not healthy, and as I said before, when you read or when you look at what was crossed out from the Article 25, again, I don't see where, as the representative were claiming, the public has more time and more opportunities. Basically, they cross out, I see here paragraph like, basically everything that has to do with the process that we had to go through is being crossed out from the article. So I don't see any replacement, and I don't see anywhere where what they're claiming is correct. So, and I asked again, I have it here on page 20. Section 1512 is completely crossed out. Notice required, the department shall require an applicant for the wireless service facility site permit to notify the public, crossed out. Notice by mail, crossed out. Any neighborhood association identified, planning, everything here is crossed out. Where exactly is it that we have more time? Protest allowed, section 115.13a, protest allowed, any reason, any protest tentative approval of the applicant for personal wireless, blah, 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 all is crossed out. The public has no way to respond in a timely manner, and I'd like you to rescind and reject this article, this amendment. Thank you.
Any other speakers?
Hello, Leo Palacios, Public Works. I just wanted to reemphasize that the tentative approval has been rescinded per the amendments of Article 25, but the final determination has been expanded to cover a greater ground of notification. And also, just to go off the objective standard, that design that was displayed would not be accepted under the objective standard.
Anything else? Okay, hearing none, we'll end this meeting. Thank you very much. Please make sure you signed in so that the department can notify you of the decision. And otherwise, thank you for your time.